we're gonna all get reelected in 2010, then we can redraw the districts, and we'll control it for 30 years. You know, the Republicans redrew the districts back in the early 90s, and that's why we have what we have. We can have Larry, we can have Frank. So keep it in mind, it's coming. You know, it's coming. I'm ending my speech on something that's not pro-life, but it is. I mean, when you think about it, because if we can't elect pro-life office holders, we're doomed. Just to give you a sneak peek, and I'll open it for questions. Any question? You can disagree with me, and we live in a great country where we can agree to disagree respectfully, or agree. We're going after Planned Parenthood next. You know, these 3 bills that I just talked to you about, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce a law in Ohio that any facility that performs, and for some reason the number is at 5 abortions, I think it should be 1, but 5 abortions and more in a year have to meet the same standards as a hospital because they're doing medical procedures. And by doing that, it's going to raise the standards of these darn abortion mills that are killing babies to the point where they're not going to be able to stay open. It's a good strategy. We're going to do it here in Ohio. Those 19 abortion mills, we think we can close at least half of them. Get down, you know, we were at the high point, we had 30 back in the 80s. We've been chipping away and closing. And we think with this legislation, we can close a whole heck of a lot more. Our new director of health is pro-life. He's going to start inspecting them more. He's going to do more. We're going to close that late-term abortionist down in Dayton. So we're going to need your guys' support. I'm not saying financial, because the most important thing you guys can do is be on our email list, okay? Because when we send an email and say, guys, here's a phone number, even if they're not your state rep, okay? Maybe they will be, or your state senator. Call, email, write. Do anything you can. You can be in your pajamas and sit at your computer and send emails. Every time we do a call to action, I'll get a call from the Senate president or someone on the committee and says, stop, tell your people to stop. I'm like, they're not my people, they're just our supporters. We hear you, we'll do it. They're very sensitive in Columbus, and that's why we're running to them now and saying, don't worry about these union protesters. That's the silent majority supports you, okay? But when we have a tidal wave of pro-lifers calling, our bills get through. That's what we need you to do. We need you to sign up on our list. I was talking to someone earlier that we won't bombard you with 50 emails a week. I don't like getting them either. But with the emails we'll send you, or the information we'll send you in a newsletter, is important information. And from the comforts of your own home, you know, you can advocate for life for us. Or if you want to come to Columbus and testify, call me. We'll welcome you. We'll give you an office for the day. We'll help you. These guys need to hear from you. Frank has an office. Larry has an office in driving distance. Go see him. Talk to him. Pick up the phone. Call him. Let them know where we are. There's more of us than them. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Jim, I blew that 15 minutes. I totally if anyone has a question or wants to talk afterwards or anything, I'll answer any questions. Yes?
Got some questions?
Lisa?
I can shout. I can shout. That bill, you see this bill in so it's 2011, so it's this year. I mean, to redistrict.
Yes, it'll be a ballot initiative. So when you go to vote for your.
So it is this year, not
Not 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a meeting last week and they said it's gonna be on, they have to circulate petitions, they gotta get so many signatures, just like when we do things. And if they're successful, which they will because they're gonna put a lot of money, when you go to vote for your local officials this year, county commissioners, city council, what have you, because it's a local election, it might be state issue 1 or state issue 2 or something. And we will make sure everyone knows, but we will not be in support of that. And we would just kindly ask you to read it and not be in support of it either.
There was something in the paper, I don't know how long ago, about they were going to try to limit, and I believe it was in Ohio, the abortions to when the heartbeat. And the heartbeat's between 18 and 21 days, I believe.
Yes.
What happened with that?
Okay. I need to ask for each one of you if you will give me 5 minutes. I do not have a 30-second soundbite to answer this question, but I can answer it, but it's going to take 5 minutes.
Okay.
If you guys don't want it, I can talk to you offline, but in order for me to explain our position on the heartbeat bill, I cannot answer it in 30 seconds. So, and this isn't just lawyer speak, okay? Because every day my staff and I wake up and we pray and ask God for the strength, for godly wisdom and spiritual direction to end all abortions. As I said earlier, I want to work myself out of a job. The heartbeat bill. The heartbeat bill, ma'am. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Marion.
Marion. The heartbeat bill will not save one baby's life. Let me repeat that. The heartbeat bill will not save one baby's life, and I wish it did. I wish it could save every life. There's a reason why National Right to Life, Americans United for Life, Susan B. Anthony List, Ohio Right to Life, the list goes on and on. Priests for Life. No one supports the heartbeat bill. In concept, we do, but from a legislation perspective, we don't. And here, I know that right now you're probably all scratching your head going, who the heck is this guy that just talked for a half hour and doesn't support this? This is great heartbeat. You know, folks, and I talked to Jim and Lisa about this. It's a very difficult thing because we support all pro-life laws that are responsible and work. And that's why I need 5 minutes to answer the question. You know, there's a reason why 49 other states have not introduced a heartbeat bill. You know, we didn't just wake up and go, oh, heartbeat. Why didn't we think of heartbeat? Why not brainwaves? Why not skeletal tissues? Or why not conception? Our mission statement at Ohio Right to Life says to protect and defend innocent human life from conception until natural death. In the book of Jeremiah, God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. So, you know, our minds can't get preconception because we're not God, so we say life begins at conception. And if we move the needle now to heartbeat, everything that we believed in for the past 40 years was for naught. It was nothing. It was shallow. Number one. Number two, I can't go down to the State House or I can't go to Congress anymore and demand that they stop funding embryonic stem cell research, because you know what they're going to say? Gonidakis, you just said life begins at heartbeat now. So we're going to murder those babies at their embryo stage, and for the first week, second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, sixth week, until they find a heartbeat, because you just moved your mission statement, because you're no longer believe that life begins at conception. Now you're saying heartbeat. So those issues, and we'll never do that, because our mission, believe, is all life begins at conception. Now, State Senator Bill Seitz, Tim Grindell, and a few others, and I know Tim is, God bless his soul, you know, sometimes he's on weird different paths, but he's a very good lawyer. Said it best. He said, Mike, before the ink would be dry in Governor Kasich's name, assuming he would sign it, which I don't think he will, there will be a permanent injunction in federal district court in Southwest Ohio by liberal pro-abortion judge Susan Galat, saying this law is unconstitutional, number one. Number two, she's then going to award attorney's fees to the baby killers' lawyers. Those baby killers' lawyers at Planned Parenthood charge $500, $600, $700 an hour. Because whenever someone challenges a law as unconstitutional that the state legislature passes, they get attorney's fees. It's the Constitution. So your tax, when the state loses, who pays? Your tax dollars, Marion, your tax dollars, my tax dollars are going to go to those baby killers' lawyers because we lose on the heartbeat. I went to the legislature. It's actually not even the legislature. I went to the group that's supporting this, and I said, you know, do we really want, if we're going to do something this far, which we know we're going to lose, let's do conception, because that's who and what we are. Let's save all the babies. We know we're going to lose anyways. Let's at least, you know, do it at conception. And they said, well, no, we like the jingle. We like the gimmick of a heartbeat. We like the red balloons of the heartbeat. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, don't, you know, because they said it's a great educational thing. And you do not use the courts, and you do not use the legislature for education. This is serious business. You need to go to the courts with a sound legal argument, because once it gets in the courts and that liberal judge, and there's a million of them, gets a hold of your stuff, you can't say, oops, I'm sorry, can I take my case? No, once they get your case, there's nothing you can do. And what the heartbeat bill will do, and I say this, I'm not agreeing with it, I'm just, as a lawyer, I'm telling you, it'll reaffirm Roe v. Wade too, and that's the last thing we need, because they're going to say, we told you once, we told you twice, we told you 10 times, no restrictions on pre-viability abortions. It's the worst decision they've ever made. Roe v. Wade has led to the death of 50 million babies, actually 53 million in the United States of America. But as I told you earlier, we lose at the United States Supreme Court right now, 5-4. The heartbeat bill will never make it to the United States Supreme Court because it will never get past the district court or the Sixth Circuit. The Supreme Court is petitioned to hear about 15,000, 20,000 cases a year. They hear 200, maybe 215 on a busy year. They only hear matters of first impression. So if the heartbeat bill even got to the Supreme Court, they would look at it and say, no thanks, because we already ruled. I disagree, but they already ruled in Roe v. Wade, Doe v. Bolton, Casey v. Planned Parenthood, and Gonzalez v. Carhart that there's no restrictions on pre-viability of abortions. So you might say, well, I'm looking at your card here, Mike, and it says you're doing a ban at 20 weeks. Isn't 8 weeks better, heartbeat? Well, actually, conception's better. Conception's better, not heartbeat, not 20 weeks, but here's what the Supreme Court said. States have interests and rights to ban abortions when a baby can live outside the womb. Let's save 1,000 babies' lives now. I told you our abortions continue to go down. They're going to go down now 1,000 more. The old baseball analogy, you can't go from first to third without getting thrown out. And when we get thrown out, you know, what happens if that liberal judge goes, and you know, while I'm at it, we're going to tinker with your partial birth abortion ban. We're going to remove some of your parental consent laws, and there's nothing we can do about it. The heartbeat bill in concept, it sounds great. And again, I do not want to work at Ohio Right to Life. I want to go back to practicing law, and that, I love my job. I don't even consider it a job, it's a passion, but I want to work myself out of a job. But the heartbeat bill does damage to us. It doesn't work, and that's what we need to be careful of. You know, no other state is doing this, and I don't have a 30-second soundbite for you, so I have to explain it to you in concept and in theory. And ladies and gentlemen, if it saved one baby's life, if it did one thing, I would put every penny of Ohio Right to Life behind it. I've tried to talk to the Heartbeat folks and explain to them, we love you, and this has nothing, we've never said anything negative. I know where their heart is. But there's a reason why the Personhood Amendment in South Dakota lost 70-30. There's a reason why the Personhood Amendment in South Dakota lost 68-32. Okay, it's a culture thing. Let me go back to the three-headed monster: legislative, political, and culture. This is where our culture's at. We're going there. When Stephen gives speeches to young people, it's changing hearts and minds. When he talks about his granddaughter and his daughter, it's changing hearts and minds. It's working. We're at first base now with our ban on partial birth abortion. You know what I mean? Partial birth abortion, sorry. We've got that ban in place. Second base is ban late-term abortions after 20 weeks. Third base, heartbeat. But we have to do it this way because the court has said, here's your strategy. When the culture changes, when you get certain laws in place, you can continue to start chipping away at it. And then the home run, when you get home plate, is elimination of all abortions. But you can't go from first to third without getting to second. And we can introduce a heartbeat bill 6 days a week and twice on Sunday, and we lose every time. And we don't say one life. People say, well, let's do it anyways. Let's make a statement. Okay, we can do it. But then when your tax dollars, when your $250,000 worth of tax dollars or more are going to Planned Parenthood's baby killer lawyers so they can get more equipped and have more lawyers on staff and to help pay for it, they'll give kickbacks and they'll donate some of it to Planned Parenthood, where does that leave us? We leave us with 40% of abortions in the African American community still. Our late-term ban, House Bill 78, saves lives immediately. It's constitutional. Planned Parenthood didn't even testify against it. It's a difficult position we're in. We want all lives saved, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know, maybe I didn't answer it well. I hope I did, and if you disagree, I still respect you, but please know we're trying to do it for 40 years. We've been trying to do it the right way, and we're, as a community in the state, we need to stick together. And I respect everyone who's doing the heartbeat bill, by the way. Yes, whoever's next.
Real quick comment and a quick question. Been with McFan for quite a while now, and when you thank Jim and Lisa for all their hard work, you were right on the money.
Yes.
There's a couple other people here that I really want to thank myself.
God bless you.
And Chris does a lot of work up in Lorraine, a lot of hard work up in Lorraine, with conservative groups up there, and I want to thank her. And Steve over here took the Republican headquarters here in Medina from a empty building to a very active, functioning headquarters, and I really want to thank you.
Not Dave and Marsha.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of people here that do a lot of work.
Indeed.
Nancy and Dave, Marsha, a lot of them do. And if I start trying to name everybody, I'll be running down a list of probably 80% of the people in the room. But my question though that's on point is, give me a little. I've been hearing that Right to Life is heavily involved with the Girl Scouts. Is that accurate?
Well, no. We're Ohio Right to Life. I can't speak on what Michigan Right to Life.
Planned Parenthood, forgive me.
Well, I have to tell you, I had a great conversation with some of your friends this morning, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I was not aware of the issues, and I will sit down and I forget the woman, she's sitting right behind you, was telling me, this couple, so I'll give the floor up to them. I did not know, because we bought Girl Scout cookies this year. I didn't know what was going on.
Don't buy any Girl Scout cookies ever again.
Real quick, with the Girl Scouts, they've been taken over by, their administration has been taken over by people who are very strongly Planned Parenthood. Okay, in addition to that, some time ago, Planned Parenthood had a meeting, session with the United Nations where they had a session where they had young people, they chased all the adults out, and they had very sexually explicit information for these children in this session. They also want to make sex education mandatory without opt-outs, without parental notification. They're running the Girl Scouts, okay? There's an alternative organization, and I can't remember the name, I think it's called American Girl. Hopefully they'll start selling cookies so we can buy them.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. We're gonna look into it when I get back on Monday. I have no idea. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you stand on the morning after pill?
Yeah, it's an abortifacient and it causes an abortion. It absolutely does. I'm not a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I always say leave the medical questions to the doctors, let the lawyers handle the legal strategy. That's why I passionately talked about the heartbeat bill from a legal strategy. But we have 5 amazing doctors on our board, and whether it's RU486 or the morning after pill, it's an abortifacient because there's a difference. And I'm going into territory that is not my field, but there's a difference between conception and fertilization. Fertilization is when the egg, and I'm going back to biology now in high school, when the egg and the sperm meet, and in the morning after pill. All I do know it's an abortifacient, and I'm going to give you my card, and you email me tomorrow. I will give you that answer tomorrow. Okay. We have a position statement on our website on it, and I was just not prepared to go into the medical background on it, but we are absolutely opposed to any medicine whatsoever that prevents life, to include RU486. And RU486 in the morning after pill are completely different. RU486 is once the baby could be 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks old, you take your first day, and then it starts decomposing, it kills the baby, and then the second pill starts stripping the woman's inside linings, and the third day she starts bleeding out, and the fourth day the abortionist goes in and removes the rest. It's true. You guys, partial birth abortion ban, people thought that banned late-term abortions. It doesn't. The partial birth abortion ban didn't save one baby's life. We support it. That just took away a tool in the tool belt of these murderers. Praise President Bush, he signed it, and the Supreme Court upheld it in Gonzales v. Carhart. But what they said is, you cannot no longer remove a baby up to its head and then pierce the back of its skull to abort it. The partial birth abortion ban's in place. It's a federal law. No state can do it. But you know how they're aborting late-term babies now? Saline abortions. You inject the mother's womb with a high concentration of salt. It burns the skin off the baby and suffocates it. That's choice, guys. That's choice. It's cool when these Hollywood people stand up, isn't it? When they get on TV in their fancy suits and say, we're for a woman's right to choose. See what we're doing here? Obama stands up and says choice. But you know what choice? How about dilation and extraction, where they go in with tools and they start ripping the baby apart limb by limb and then removing it. This is what we're talking. We're not talking about choice or hip and being cool or having President Obama with Planned Parenthood. We're talking about murdering babies. This isn't you take a pill and on the first day and you go away and everything's okay. No, it's not. It's not. Even that's wrong. Sorry, I'm very passionate. Okay, so I got to be honest with you.
Hey,
Steve.
when you talk about, I won't need that. When you talk about choice, people say women should have a right to choose. Over half the fetuses are females. Do they have a right to choose?
Yeah, well said.
And that's a question that people don't ask, but they use the pro-choicers use that as leverage, and you can throw it right back in their face because the majority of the fetuses are female and they don't have a choice.
Well said, Steve. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Jim, are we okay? Okay. All right. Whoever, I'll let you guys pick.
Do you have the statistics of what happens to a woman after she has an abortion, like what emotional trauma she may go through, physical trauma she may go through?
It's a great question. I don't have specific statistics, but what I can tell you is there's probably 40 to 50 post-abortive healing ministries in Ohio here. One of them I just held the pamphlet up that I won't be able to go see today, but I will. And one of our board members works with the Catholic Church, Bethesda Healing Ministry, and it's real. There's actual links with breast cancer and abortion. People say, oh no, it's not. It is. The severe mental trauma women face. Is it every woman? No. Is it a majority of women? Yes. I've met so many women that have said, every day, they say, I have 3 children, but only 2 are with me, I aborted one. We don't condemn a woman who has an abortion because, we've all made, we can't. We hug them and tell them it's okay, God forgives you. But to have specific statistics, I don't know of any organization that actually does that, but it's real, and the ministries that are out there to help women are real. 150 pregnancy centers, over 50 healing ministries, all free, no charge, we're here to help. it's amazing, you know, we don't sell anything, yet we survive, and we're so many of us, and it's all God, it's God's hand that does it. So thank you guys, thank you so very much.
Okay, appreciate Mike coming up and keeping us informed. Unfortunately, when you get into the right to life, sometimes you get some graphic descriptions, and unfortunately, it is what it is. So, at any rate, we had a couple of people ask for a minute to speak at the meeting. Dick, did you have, okay, Dave?
The guy who used the podium. And I'll give you one reason why. I made it. Okay, first part of this is about legislation, and I'll be real quick. I'm going to go fast. If you have questions, stop me later. But I'm just going to go through a bunch of bullets. Legislatively in Washington, there's $105 billion buried in the health bill. I assume you know that by now. When it was passed, when Nancy said, you'll find out what's in it when you pass it, the wrong thing. If the continuing resolution that's coming up in the House doesn't include the rescinding that, it's going to begin to be implemented. You need to call Renee, Boehner, Michelle Bachman's leading the charge on that. You need to get involved if you can. Increasing the debt ceiling, they're talking about doing that, although there's a lot of sentiment. Most of the freshmen congressmen are against it, but there are 3 who have said they might approve it. There happen to be a couple of names that were mentioned this morning. Boehner, Jim Jordan, Pat Tiberi, all leaning toward increasing the debt limit. If you don't agree, you need to contact them. On Thursday, they're going to be talking about defunding NPR. That's a pretty hot button. I think we need to do that. Next week, the Energy and Commerce Committee is going to be talking, it's called House Resolution 37. They're going to try and reverse the FCC's regulation of the internet. We need to look at that. HR 910 is to prevent the EPA to implement regulations on greenhouse gases. It's another hot button. Now, if you want these numbers, we can talk about it afterwards. Last meeting, if those of you who were here remember I had a thing up on the wall, about 20 feet of organizations that are working very hard to implement this open change that we don't want. Also involved in a lot of the unrest in the Middle East. There's a bunch of rabble rousers, and they're still going at it. Okay, the rest of, real quickly, the rest of the remarks I have, there's a challenge to you all, and you've heard a lot about it already this morning, to become an activist. Okay? What we're doing here is we're preaching to the choir. We all agree with what we hear in these talks, but we're preaching to the choir. We need to get out and get involved and affect other people, our neighbors, our friends, anybody that we can. So based on what's happened in Madison, Wisconsin, and Columbus, we've got their attention. They know we're there. They know we're now their enemy. And I have just one thing I ran across that I assume some of you, maybe all of you, have heard about the Council of Foreign Relations. It's made up of a bunch of elitist, globalist, New World Order folks. We have their attention now. On the cover of the magazine that they put out called Foreign Affairs, it says the Tea Party in American Foreign Policy. They know we're here, okay? It has 4,300 members. Let's take off a half a dozen. J. Kenneth Blackwell, Wesley Clark, Bill Clinton, Bill Daley, Dianne Feinstein, Timothy Geithner, Newt Gingrich, Charles Krauthammer, both John Kerry and his wife, Rupert Murdoch, Colin Powell, 5 Rockefellers, George Soros, are all members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Let me just tell you what they think of us. And, this column is in a website called thenewamerican.com. I'll get that to you later if you want it. I'll just read one comment. I was going to read more, but here's one. The Tea Party movement is an amorphous collection of individuals which include affluent suburban libertarians, rural fundamentalists, ambitious pundits, unreconstructed racists, and my wife, fiscally conservative housewives.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they think of us, okay? And there's a lot more here.